The voice of Sherry. Durian ASEAN.
Okay, welcome back to Durian ASEAN. You're with me, Gowri, today. And we're in our Blast from the Grassroots session. And today with me, I have Ksatriya from Penang, who is a poet and a songwriter. And he's at the moment he's busy performing and promoting his new album Red, and he's also he organizes monthly performance event for original artists and helps to manage community arts and craft and market in Penang. So hi there.
Hello.
Hi, how are
Gowri.
you? How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So how are things in Penang?
It's good. I think we were just having a conversation earlier. It was Mother's Day yesterday, so
Right.
first
Okay.
of all, happy belated Mother's Day to everybody out there.
Yeah, all the
So
listeners.
my parents actually live in Kulim, Kedah, so I came back yesterday to have some quality time with the family.
Okay.
And so I'm still sort of like in Kulim, and I don't know if you can hear the birds and the various animals, the various fauna that is found in Kulim, basically getting up in the morning. But so that's pretty much it. Penang has been very interesting just the last couple of years. I'm not sure if the listeners have been or have been in touch,
Mm-hmm.
but there's been something of an artistic renaissance in the last few years or so, and it's turning very slowly, I think, into an arts hub,
Okay.
which is a very interesting place to be as an artist right now and as an art lover.
Okay. So, you know how people always say that KL is the place to be if you are majoring in performing arts or if you want to make it in the arts. So, what's your take on that? Do you think Penang stands a chance? Is Penang getting there, or is KL still the place?
Well, I think it depends on what you want to do, because if you're planning to do theater,
Mm-hmm.
KL Pack is there, and all the other art collectives and theater groups. If you want to get on radio or in the media, then it's definitely everything is centralized in KL.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are looking to do something experimental, indie, or even just sort of community-based, I think Penang is quickly becoming a viable alternative,
Okay.
because there's a very sort of grassroots movement feel to the art here. But at the same time, a lot of organizations like the Georgetown Festival, Josie Dick Productions, have found a way to monetize arts in the sense that it becomes a financially sustainable thing. So you've got this nice little balance coming out between sort of high-end or highbrow art, with the kind of stuff that people pay 200 ringgit a ticket for, and also community-based art that is community movements and that people are interested to be a part of. Also, sort of finding a voice in Penang. There's still some ways to go,
Okay.
but it's an encouraging start, I feel, and it remains to be seen how we manage it in the next couple of years. Yeah.
Okay. So, you call yourself a singer-songwriter, right? So,
Well,
yeah.
I think singer-songwriter is the popular label, right? I call myself a poet and songwriter.
Oh, right. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. I mean, there are a lot of really great singer-songwriters in Malaysia right now. But that's not really what I do. What I do is sort of an exploration. It's an experimental blend. I don't know if you've had this conversation with your friends before. There's always people who believe that music is the lyrics, and then there's people who believe that music is the music and the lyrics are secondary.
Okay.
And so, like, this is like a big sort of exploration in my work. Like, when you listen to a song, which is it? So I try to explore that a lot. So a lot of my work is, but there's a musical element to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's also things that I do that are musical,
Okay.
but at the same time, I'm sort of challenging the listener to try and figure out for themselves why the song works for them. So poet and songwriter, I feel is. Sorry, I interrupted your question and just went off on a tangent. What was the question?
The question was actually, why do you call yourself a poet-songwriter?
Yeah, I answered the question. Okay.
Yeah, so, you did actually answer the question.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I think like a lot of artists, I'm terrible at labeling myself. Which is what drives the marketing, people. I think I've been described in many ways. One of my favorites so far is that I was described as an urban poet, which is nice. I mean, like, it's sort of like they're saying, okay, you're doing a spoken word poetry, but the way it's being brought out is very current, very modern, and very interesting. So that was nice for me. But I've also people have described me as a spoken word artist, as a rapper, or just a troublemaker, punk poet, post-beat poet.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think it really depends on how. I just do what I do, and I just let people decide what they want.
You're a troublemaker, as in you incite troubles through your music.
No, I'm a troublemaker. I think they think I'm a troublemaker because I just do things.
Right, you just do whatever you feel is right.
Exactly. I think there's almost an expectation that you should be self-censoring yourself if you're an artist in this country, and simply not doing that is like, everybody's like, ooh, So I don't consciously go out looking for trouble, but it seems to find me some way or the other.
Okay, so why don't you tell us how did it all start? How did you get into music? What happened? What inspired you?
Oh, that's actually, I think it's a very common story. I actually started out very creative. I was a very creative kid. I used to draw. I used to be in the visual arts, actually. But as I grew up, it sort of very effectively got beaten out of me by the education system and by society in general. I mean, there are a lot of kids out there, I think, who are experiencing the same thing, or a lot of parents who are telling their kids, don't waste your time doing art because that's not going to feed you and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it.
So, yeah, it's the whole Asian kind of thing. But, so I actually stopped doing art for a long time, for years.
Oh, okay.
And I gave up on visual arts and stuff like that. And it was just, it was necessary. It was the socioeconomic needs at the time. But so I got my degree, I got a job, and it was so boring at my job.
What was your degree in?
Okay, this is an interesting one. I actually got my degree in engineering.
Oh, wow.
And then decided that engineering was just, boring. I didn't want to work in the manufacturing sector. So then I decided. So then I took an interview for an IT job, and I got that job. So I was doing IT for a long time. And then while I was in IT for the first 6 months, and then I figured out the job, and it became routine. So I was bored again. And then I decided, well, I've always wanted to do music.
Okay.
But my parents sent me for like 2 classes when I was a kid. And the music teacher just told me, like, please do not ever do music because, you go for these music classes and they make you sort of like do these exercises over and over and over again.
The vocal exercises, you mean?
There's sort of a rote learning approach to studying music. And I was just one of these kids who were like, why? Why do I need to do this? Why is this important? And, so the teacher at the time, the music teacher at the time just couldn't handle me and said, no, don't do music. You don't have the skills for it. So at 24 or 25, or no, 26, when I started working, I decided I was going to do music.
Right.
I was going to learn because if it's the last thing I do, I want to be able to play a song. And I actually started just learning on my own, and it turned out that I was kind of a natural at it. It just sort of came to me. And so I just started writing, and I just, I did it for fun for a long time. And the turning point for me was when there's a local sort of a coalition group. They're basically they're trying to create unity and stuff like that. It's called Saya Anak Bangsa Malaysia, which roughly translates to I am a Malaysian child. And they organized a songwriting competition called Bangkit. which means rise in English, about 3 years ago. And it was just like I'd never submitted to anything before. I was a closet, songwriter. And my friends convinced me to write a song for it, so I did.
Okay.
It was supposed to be a rock song, but we couldn't find anybody to sing it. So then my friend said, "Hey, why don't you do it? Because why don't you perform?" And I never performed it before. I had no idea what I was doing, but I managed to get two very, very talented people. Sivasilan, who is a musician here in Penang. He's absolutely a wonderful jazz drummer and a composer.
Okay.
And another guy called Samwise Wiki, who is a producer also based in Penang. And we sat down and made a song together called Bangkit, the Malaysian Revolution.
Okay.
And it was the first song I'd ever written, and we expected it to just get shot out of the water. But we put it in for the competition, and we won. It was one of the highest voted songs in the competition. And we got onto the compilation CD, and up to today, like 3 years later, people still tell me like, "Hey, that song, man." That song.
So what's it called again?
So it's called Bangkit Malaysian Revolution. It's on the Bangkit compilation CD by Sayana Bangsa. I think it's out of print already. Like they did a limited print run, but I think you can still find it if you walk into any of these other organizations. They all have a copy. So so that started it out. I started writing.
Okay.
I started performing. I started getting involved in projects, and then that led to an album. And now I do it. Then now it's my job. I quit my corporate job, and now I'm a full-time artist.
Are you attached to any recording company, or how did you make this album of yours?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't get that.
Are you attached to any recording company?
Do I have a recording company?
Yeah, are you attached to one?
Yeah, because the line your question is getting. No, I'm not. I'm not attached to any label at the moment. Simply because, I like to be able to say what I want to say and tell the stories that I think are important. I don't want at the moment to someone else to make that decision of what I can do for me. Because I think, we have more than enough entertainers, and there's more than enough people who will do that.
Okay.
Personally, I feel what we really need at the moment, where there's not enough of, is people who are telling stories of, real life stories of real people. So at the moment, I'm not attached to any label. Everything, I produce my own work, I market my own work, I promote my own work.
Okay.
And I don't recommend it if you intend to become rich and famous. That's probably not the way you want to go.
All right.
But if you want to be able to write stuff that you think touches people in a way that's honest, then I think that's definitely at the moment the direction for you.
All right. So tell us more about your album. It's called Red, right?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
why Red?
Well, okay. So Red is the title track of the album.
Okay.
The reason why Red is, firstly, because Red, it's a story. It's 8 stories about the courage and passion of 8 different people.
It has nothing to do with Taylor Swift, right?
Sorry?
It has nothing to do with Taylor Swift, right? The Red.
It has nothing to do with, what was that again?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. No, people come up with that and say, Taylor Swift had a... I'm like, she didn't copyright the color. Right? No, and also because I like to layer my stories.
Okay.
Whenever you listen to a single song or a single album, there are many layers to it, many storytelling layers to it. And Red is part of an ongoing story. The reason it's called Red is part of an ongoing story that will become apparent to the listeners and to the fans as we go down the road. Because I'm writing already for the second album, and we've already got a third album planned.
Okay, that's good.
It's another layered story. So once you've started listening to the third or fourth album, you start to understand why this was Red and what is that hidden story that's not being told.
Okay.
So yeah, for the most apparent layer is that it represents the courage and passion of these 8 people that I'm telling the stories of in the album. But there's also a hidden layer that will become apparent later on as the second and third albums come out. So it's a nice little puzzle for people to take apart in their free time, and I enjoy doing that.
So how is your album produced if you're not attached to a company?
Oh, you mean how we actually we got it off the ground and actually...
market it and get it out there.
Okay, so there are several, I think, I'm going to go into a little bit of detail because I think it's something that doesn't really come up very often, and a lot of people don't really understand really the process of it. So the production part is where you get the songs done and recorded, right? And for that you need a songwriter and a performer and a sound engineer and a studio, or sometimes more than one of each of those things. So that part is the easy part. Basically, I write my own stuff and I take it to Sam. We work together. We've worked together on this album and worked together on basically all my songs at the moment. So I took it to him, and then we sit down and we figure out what this song really needs, what really needs to make it a great song. So we write that all out, and then we record it, and then it goes into post-production, which is the mastering, the mixing, the mastering, and all that kind of thing. And that can take ages, but once that's done, you put everything you have into an album, and a lot of people choose to print a physical CD. Like my album is digital only; it's a fully digital album. And the reason for that is, there's financial reasons. It's also like people these days. I think people buy a CD if they're already a fan. If they've followed you for years, they want to buy your album as a keepsake. People don't buy CDs to listen to music anymore. They buy it as a memento, So I feel like digital is the way to go unless you're at the point where people want to buy it as a collector's item or something. As far as marketing and promotion are concerned, that's a whole different ball game. And I think that's where I think a lot of Malaysian artists especially, there's a lot of room for improvement, because when you are signed to a label, there's an entire marketing and promotion department that does the job, right? When you're an indie artist, you're playing, you're performing, you're also your own business manager, you're also your own financial, you're also your own marketing manager. So the marketing promotion is quite a challenge at the moment, because if you're doing something that is, I would say, intellectual, not even sort of like, you don't even have to be like out there, but just something where you're looking at things and describing them honestly, then you're really going to have a difficult time getting on the mainstream media. You're really going to have a difficult time. If you're doing anything that is not sort of pop-based or whatever is popular, you're going to have a difficult time getting on TV or whatever. So there needs to be a lot of interesting ideas on how to get the community involved and how to get your music to them in a way that makes financial sense. Because touring is a great way for people to hear your music, but it is extremely expensive. And in this country right now, we do not have a culture of paying our artists. I think that culture still is sort of still being developed, because you'll find a lot of very, very talented musicians playing at venues essentially for free. So it is a challenge to anyone out there who is planning to make music or whatever. The production, all that's the easy part, man. The financial planning, making it financially sustainable, marketing your stuff in a way that you don't go bankrupt. That's where everybody's trying to figure out a way right now. And the way I'm doing it is that, the album came out in November. It's not officially launched yet. What I'm doing is I'm raising funds right now to do marketing and to do promotion and to tour. And once I've done that, I'll be able to travel and perform my music and stuff like that. And it is a long-term investment. I think a lot of younger musicians, or even some of the older ones, don't really realize that in general you only start making profit off your first album once your third album comes out.
Okay.
So it's like you never make. It's kind of like the model of the industry is that you don't usually make, especially if you're an indie artist, you don't usually make back what you've put into the first and second albums.
Okay.
It's only once the third one comes out, and assuming you've done all the other sort of things like marketing and stuff right, once the third one comes out, then you start seeing a profit on the first one because of the snowball. And I think that's something that not a lot of people realize, and they get very frustrated and very often give up after the first one, which is sad. So I don't know. Does that answer your question? Like
Yeah.
Quite a bit of details there, but yeah.
So
lose anybody over
it sounds like a very challenging journey. So what is it that drives you, that motivates you to keep going?
Wow. Okay, so people ask me that question.
Okay.
And sometimes the answer really surprises them. I think they expect to get an answer like, oh yeah, I'm changing the world, art, stuff like that.
Yeah, revolutionizing the industry.
Yeah. I just do it because I don't know how not to.
How what?
Like I don't know how not to do it. You know what I mean? Like
okay.
it just I have to do it.
Right.
Like if I have no idea how to stop.
Okay.
So I just do it. As far as revolutionizing the industry and stuff like that, I don't know. I do my best. I try to do something that I think is worth my time and worth other people's time. And if that revolutionizes the industry, then great. If it doesn't, well, at least people, had something to listen to that changed their lives,
Okay.
Or that gave them some amount of satisfaction or happiness or whatever.
All right.
And that's really just the way I approach it.
Okay, so is there any event that you're working on right now that you want to talk about?
Well, you mean in terms of the music? There's several actually. So what I do is I have my music, and I tour and perform whenever I can. At the end of this month, on the 30th and 31st, there's an event called Indie PG. It's basically a music conference come concert for original music artists in Malaysia. So during the day, there's all these workshops for musicians, by musicians. So you can learn a bunch of stuff.
Where is this taking
regarding
place?
Songwriting and production. Sorry?
Where is it taking place?
Okay, Indie PG is happening at Penang Pack on the 30th and 31st of May.
All right, okay.
You can actually look it up on Facebook. It's Indie as in INDIE, PG as in Penang.
Okay.
And you can find it online.
Okay. Hello.
It's cheap. I will be. I'm not. I won't be having an entire set, but I'll sort of like show up every now and then and sort of do a little performance and talk to people about songwriting and poetry and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So we also have a monthly event at the Canteen at China House in Penang, which is like the big sort of art and live performance scene at the moment.
All right.
It's called Say It Like You Mean It, and I Say It Like You Mean It. You can find it on Facebook, facebook.com/SayItMeIt Penang. And what we are is an art collective of original artists, and we have a show every month from January to August. It's our second year now doing that, and we showcase original music, comedy, dance, spoken word poetry, really anything, magic. If you want to do stage magic, anybody who comes to us and says, I have something I want to do that's original and creative, you've got a stage. We're also, we also have a group of writers who write the comedy sketches and design the props and stuff like that. So if you're interested in anything creative, you come and talk to us and we'll find a place for you.
Okay.
At the moment, I've recently started helping to manage an arts and craft market in Penang. It's called the Little Penang Street Market.
Okay.
It's also on Facebook, facebook.com/Little Penang Community. And that one is focused really on artists who are making things like handicrafts and other sort of hands-on art, physical art. And what we do is we give them a space to sell their stuff, and then we do the promotion and get people in. And one of the goals is to not just support arts and handicrafts artists, because that's sort of a niche that doesn't really get a lot of attention. It's theater, and then a little bit about music and stuff, and then these guys don't really get much attention. So
Okay.
and it's also a part of the ongoing project to revitalize all these streets and public areas, because we've got a ton of public areas that nobody uses, nobody goes to. You know what I mean? All the parks are sort of like lying fallow. So the idea is we picked a place in Upper Penang Road, which is a nice sort of public area. And the idea is to bring people in so that they can socialize and get involved in their community and their local arts and culture and crafts. So that's been running for 7 years now, and I've only been helping to manage it the last few months.
Okay.
But it's an exciting project. So my time is quite filled.
Okay. So I think that's all the time that we have for today. So do you have any last words, any messages for the younger generation, maybe those who want to get into music?
Well, I want to say two things. First of all, you can listen to my album for it's streamed online. You can listen to it for free at rebelrhyming.bandcamp.com.
Rebel rhyming, is it?
Rebel rhyming. Rebel as in rebellion, rhyming as in rhymes. rebelrhyming.bandcamp.com.
All right.
The second thing I want to say to young artists who want to do art is please do not. unless
not encouraging.
I know. I mean, but I want to be honest. I'm in the Bukowski camp with this one.
Okay.
Unless not doing art would kill you, do not start doing art if you want to be famous, or if you want to be rich, or you want to be whatever. Do art if not doing it will kill you, because it is difficult, it is challenging. Everybody's still trying to figure out how we're going to make it financially sustainable, how we're going to do a lot of things. But if that excites you and you're passionate about it, and you don't mind sacrificing the time and the energy and sometimes the physical comforts, then do art.
All right.
But if you want to be rich and famous and stuff, then do something else.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I hope your album becomes a huge success, and
Thank you.
continue making it in Penang.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.